sorry, it's the shop.
Okay. Good evening, fellow Toastmaster and dear guests.
Good evening.
It was about 3 years ago I first discovered UBD Toastmasters. I was a freshie in UBD, and it was during orientation that UBD Toastmasters had a presentation about what UBD Toastmasters is and what we could learn. So I was blown away by the presentation by Ruben and Helman. So that day I decided that I wanted to go and attend the first UBD meeting. And when I attended the meeting, the first meeting was good enough for me to sign up for UBD Toastmasters. I knew that what UBD Toastmasters had to offer in terms of communications, I needed to learn that. There's a lot I needed to learn. But there was something that I was clueless about. I was clueless about what specifically about communication do I needed to learn. Has any of you been here at this point joining Toastmasters was clueless about that? Raise your hands, anyone? Okay, I see some hands with the newer members. I understand how you feel. So after I joined UBD Toastmasters, I was assigned to a mentor by then VPE, Liana Siddiq, and the mentor was none other than Julius Hong. So now let me tell you about Julius. Julius was the current Vice President of Membership at that time, and he had previously worked in Brunei Times as a journalist. So Julius was very knowledgeable and skillful in terms of how to do speeches, and it was evident when I was working on him on my speech. So he called me up after I submitted my draft and he said, let's meet in a restaurant and go over your speech. So then Julius taught me the skills of while doing a speech, and also how a speech should go about when writing a speech. So Julius was very knowledgeable at that time, and Julius was not only knowledgeable, but he was also a bit flexible. So what do I mean by flexible is that Julius gave me the space to try my speeches on my own accord. Like for example, during my first icebreaker, he didn't do anything to change my speech, but he only gave certain areas that I could improve on, such as my grammars and things like that, because he wanted me to discover what kind of speaker that I wanted to become. So that flexibility suddenly became a pain to me because I became lazy. And I started submitting my drafts late to Julius, which meant that his feedback, his feedback could not be applied because it was too late and it would affect my speech delivery. So after Julius left UBD Toastmasters, I was assigned to a new mentor. So that new mentor is none other than our Yoda of UBD Toastmaster, Nabil Abdul Qadir, sitting right here. So Nabil has been in UBD Toastmasters since the early stages of UBD. So Nabil is very well versed when it comes to doing speeches and a lot of other roles as well. So during our first meeting, after I became Nabil's mentee, me and Nabil sat down to discuss about what kind of skills from Toastmasters that I wanted to learn and how our personalities could match together and how our dynamics would work. So it started off well. So my first speech draft, Nabil gave me his feedbacks and what he thought and improved my speech, and I did very well on the speech. So the same thing as Julius, the same issue, is that we all have our lives to go about. So Nabil was busy, I was doing internship, and I started submitting my drafts late to Nabil again. That meant Nabil's feedback again could not be applied because it would affect my delivery at that point as well. Like even for this speech, my draft was not submitted to Nabil. So something to take away from this is that in Toastmasters, mentors are assigned to help us with our roles in Toastmasters and as well as speeches. So it's a sharing of knowledge. They share our knowledge and we grow as a speaker, and it is important that I have to apologize to Nabil and my mentors. I'm sorry Nabil and I'm sorry to my mentors, and I feel like I personally have lost out by not taking advantage of the mentor-mentee program and not gaining the knowledge they have to offer and all those other aspects as well. So it's important that we take note that mentor-mentee relationship in Toastmaster goes both ways. we have to take the initiative to go to our mentors to learn, because we all have our daily lives and things to go about. You want to learn here in Toastmasters about communication and leadership, so take advantage of the mentorship program and learn from the mentors that we have in UBD Toastmasters. Thank you very much, and with that, back to you, Shahul.
Thank you, Ihzash. When you were given the speech,